Clare Down, I'm known as the Queen of Calm, and I'm a human potential catalyst. And that means that I help people to get out of their way. And in fact, the theme this month is really around this idea of revealing our potential. And all the content that I've been sharing, the lives that I've been doing, and have all been around this subject. And if you want to explore that a little further, you can hop over to my profile where there are a couple of courses. There is one called Revealing Your Full Potential with the 3 Principles, and I'll explain a little bit more about the 3 Principles in a moment. And the other one is called Calm, Balance and Clarity with Ease. So they're both available on my profile. So if you are new to this content and you're new to listening to me, then please do hop over to my profile and follow me. That means you get to know every time I release something new and every time that I schedule a live or release a course. And my aim really going forward is, if you want to kind of join me on this adventure, is that I'm going to have a theme each month. So this month it's Revealing Your Potential. Next month I think it's going to be around productivity. So we're going to look at motivation, procrastination, what gets in the way of us doing the things we set out to do. So yesterday I talked a bit about self-sabotage, and I think that will come up quite a lot in a month on procrastination, productivity, motivation. I think we'll call it something to do with revealing your powerful productivity or something like that. So that'll be next month's theme. That'll be July's theme. And the same thing will happen each month, a new theme. And I've picked up on productivity or procrastination because I've seen it in the comments. It's come up, probably the subject that's come up quite regularly on this month where we're exploring revealing our true potential. And I think that's because we often see that as a place where we're not perhaps doing the things in life that we would like to do. Not doing the first thought. I think that's it. The first thought says, this is the thing to do. And then it's the subsequent thinking that gets in the way, doesn't it? And then we don't do that thing. We don't actually share that amazing idea that we've had, or we don't put it out there. So if you're a business owner, or even if you're employed, if you've just got a life, if you're a human being, then you're in the right place. And if you'd like, and if you kind of know that there's something not quite aligned, something feels a little bit off, you'd like to explore more of what you can actually be, then you're definitely in the right place. So a little bit about the 3 principles, which you may or may not have come across. I now do have a track, which I think is now live. I've got my phone here with my profile open so that I can let you know. I can't see it because they're not in that order. I don't know how to order them in that order so that I can, no. There's no way of looking at that. But I think of the track, that I've created a new track, and the track is called What Are the 3 Principles and Why They're Helpful, or something along those lines. And I highly recommend going along and listening to that track. I am also going to make a track that just tells my story, because I keep telling my story at the beginning of these sessions. And I think that's useful because I think there are new people here. But over time, I want that to be something some people can go and reference and listen to and find out about my story. But today I will quickly go through my story, why I'm here, why I'm the person who can help you if you're feeling a bit stuck, overwhelmed, stressed, anxious, and you just know there's something. It's like, there's something at the other end of the rainbow and you're not really sure how to get there and how to use the shiny red shoes. That is a total and utter Wizard of Oz reference there, in case you didn't know. So I was a primary school head teacher, which means I managed the second school I was a leader of was a big school with over 400, nearly 500 children, including the nursery, aged 3 to 11, and private childcare provision and all sorts of things. And I was the leader of a school like that, and I'd worked in primary education for 20 years. I burnt out. I was super stressed, but if you'd asked me if I was stressed the day before I walked out of work and never went back, I would have told you you were a lunatic. I would have said, don't be ridiculous. There's nothing wrong with me. Just got a bit of an issue with my sleep, and I'm actually fine. There's nothing wrong with me at all. And and you just need to get me to sleep. And when I sleep, everything will be fine. And that obviously wasn't true, because, of course, sleep is not... It's not a symptom that stands on its own as a rule. It's a consequence. And it was a consequence for me of being excessively stressed. So one day, the 31st of March 2015, I went into work. I took one look at my computer and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't bend down, couldn't switch it on. I couldn't proceed with the day, which was really strange, because I'd proceeded with my day many, many times, despite feeling tired and despite not getting enough sleep and despite not being in such a good place. But this day, my body just said, no more, we're not doing that. And in those days, I listened to that, that looked to be true to me. And I think I was utterly exhausted, to be fair, physically and emotionally exhausted. What had happened in the run-up to that is that I had got very busy trying to control the world outside me. And it really is the root cause of burnout. Burnout is sold to us as being caused by all sorts of things. But really it is us trying to feel better by trying to fix the outside world. So my life was like whack-a-mole, where the heads bob up and you try to bang them down with a hammer. And I was doing that for years. And I was doing it for years anyway, and then I split from my husband and it just got a bit more intense, and then it was all too much. So I walked out of work, I went to the doctors. I was told I had depression, which was a wrong diagnosis. I had adrenal burnout, not the same thing, but looks very similar. And in actual fact, having read up a bit more about it since, I suspect I ended up with chronic fatigue syndrome, where for that year at least, and going forward, I would still say I occasionally, I do sometimes get exhausted from doing too much. That could be just my age, but anyway, for that year, everything overwhelmed me, really. I would look at the dishwasher, even just emptying the dishwasher, and I had to really kind of, soup myself up to empty the dishwasher. I was very overwhelmed very easily. So yeah, my adrenals were a bit worn out, really, and I didn't work for a year. So I was off sick from work for a year, which, even when I say that now, it feels like mildly surreal, really, to say that I didn't work for a year. When I resigned, I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew I had to resign. I knew I wasn't going to go back by that point. And 10 days after I resigned, I got an email inviting me to train to be a hypnotherapist. So that's what I did. Now, I just went on the training because it sounded interesting. I didn't think I was going to start a business. But by the end of the training, they were kind of saying, right, well, you can get clients and start a business, and this is what to do, and this is how to do a business. And I was like, oh, I'm starting a business then. Shocker. I can just see there's a few more people come in, so please do say hello in the comments if you've just arrived. I'm just saying a little bit of my story before I crack on with the subject. I like to do this at the beginning. I've just been saying I'm going to make a track about this so that you can find out about me. Although there is a bit on the link in my bio on Insight Timer. If you click on the link, there is a video there where I tell a little bit more of the story, so you can listen to it there as well. So yeah, suddenly I'm starting a business. Now, have we got some business owners in the room, actually? It'd be good to say hi if you're a business owner and you're in the room too, and you can possibly relate to this. So, and I don't think it's just being a business owner. I think just being in the world of work, just being in life. Life says, whatever you are, whether you're a business owner, employed, if you are, hi Janet, welcome, you're a business owner too. So whatever you are, whether you're a mother, whether you're a father, whether you're you've got a particular role at work, it looks like, doesn't it, that there's a box that life is like this, and if you're not kind of fitting the model of what you should be like to be successful in life, you're not right. You're not okay. There's something to do about that. So for me, that looked like business owners are energetically like this. They get up every day at 5 a.m, 6 a.m, I don't know. They get up every day at the crack of dawn, and they work really like consistently through the day, every day, and probably some weekends and evenings and blah blah. And as a result of this straight line of energy and this straight line of motivation and productivity, business owners are successful and do well and all these other things. Now, I tried to I thought I was supposed to be like that. I don't know if you can relate, Janet, or any other business owners who are here. I thought I was supposed to be like that. That was something wrong with me because I wasn't like that, because I had adrenal fatigue, or, something akin to chronic fatigue syndrome. I developed underactive thyroid at some point, not really sure when that happened, and I was cruising into the menopause as well. And my energy levels were like this. I had some days when my head just felt like a pile of cotton wool, and other days when I was much more energised. And I think as well, we have to consider that as women especially, that there's a moon cycle thing and our personal cycle. I was still having a very, very disrupted personal cycle then, with cycling that went from 90 days to 14 days and then back to 36 days and then back to it was very difficult to know when I was going to be hit by the energy dips that come with our cycles. And I thought that meant that there was something psychologically wrong with me and there was something to do about that. So I bought into the productivity self-development world. So that was my niche around then, was productivity. Now, everybody else, yours might not be quite the same thing, but it doesn't matter. You're still in the right place, because whatever you're trying to fix in yourself, which I suspect is the case with a lot of you who are here, because if you've come to a place like Insight Timer, which I love, this is why I love this space, you kind of already know there's something that you would like to experience differently. And that's great. It's good to have that. You've already got some awareness. Now, what I'm not encouraging is a load of judgment with that, but having some awareness is great. But I didn't have just awareness, I had a lot of judgment. I wasn't right, there was something wrong with me, I had to do something about it. So I did all the books about habits, Tiny Habits, Mini Habits, Atomic Habits. Anybody familiar with those books? 5-Second Rule, 4-Hour Work Week. All the books about productivity was my focus. It was like, how do I make myself more productive? Eat that frog. I tried all the techniques like Pomodoro. I had tried Eisenhower's grid. I tried all the apps like Asana and Asana and Trello, and I tried all of that to make myself more productive. I then did the morning routine, which was like Miracle Morning, suit myself up, get myself into the right Tony Robbins style state of mind so that I can be so productive. Oh my God. And on top of that, therapy, lots of poking around the past, lots of trying to find the reason why I was a self-sabotaging procrastinator. And it was okay. Like, I probably had some insights and had some steps forward and felt better sometimes, but the roller coaster of it was awful. I feel like I was okay for a bit and then I wouldn't. And so then it would be like, oh, I need some different affirmations. I need to do something different. I've got to fix myself again. And it went on like that for about 3 or 4 years. And as I say, just like I was okay, but I was probably spending 10 hours a week. Anybody else relate to spending a lot of time trying to fix yourself? Yeah. Megan, I think you can, can't you? Yeah, Janet too. Oh, bless you, Janet. Yeah, I mean, it's ironic that you're talking about the weather, because the weather is this fluctuating thing and we can't fix that, but we kind of accept that, don't we? We kind of go, yeah, it's the weather. Like the UK, my fiance's not from the UK, he's from Africa, he's from South Africa. So he really doesn't like the weather when it's not. He expects that on the first day of June, the sun will appear and then it will just stay for the rest of the summer. And of course, it's not like that here. Because today, again, it's 9 degrees. We're back in single figures again. And we're fluctuating at the moment between 20s and like 10, like at the end of the day, it's sometimes nearer. Like at the end of yesterday, I think it was up to sort of 18. At the start of the day, it's like 9 degrees. So, But we sort of accept that because we go, that's nature, don't we? But we don't accept our own fluctuations as nature for some bizarre reason. I don't know. It's all a bit strange. So I'm really glad you can relate, Magan. I think I'm saying that right. So that went on and on and on for a long time. Too long, actually. And then in January 2020, I was introduced to this thing called the 3 principles. So the 3 principles is Megan. Yay, thank you for sounding that out for me. That makes it so much easier. So I was introduced to the 3 principles, again, just like the hypnotherapy thing, completely by accident. A friend of mine had trained in this understanding. He just wanted some people to practice his conversations with. He has transformational conversations just like me. And he put a post on Facebook and said, hey, just, I'm looking for some people to practice on. And I was like, oh, me? Will you fix me? That is going in definitely with, this could be the thing that fixes me. And my God, it was. Like, it didn't fix me because fundamentally all I needed to see that there was nothing wrong with me in the first place. And that's what happened. That was the transition that I went through, was I went from thinking there was something wrong with me to realising there wasn't, and that as a result, all the things that had been niggling just started to fall away. So the 3 principles is a description. Interestingly, on one of my courses, I've just had a question from somebody saying, is it NLP? Is it CBT? Surely it's the same thing. Absolutely not. It is not either of those things. And the main fundamental difference is, like, NLP and CBT will talk about, they'll show some understanding that thought is creating our reality. But then they will have you do something about that. Try and control your thoughts, control your feelings, change them, get rid of them, all that kind of thing. The 3 principles is the underpinning philosophy. It's the underpinning fact. So it's a bit like this. So if you think about, because of gravity, we operate in life in a certain way, don't we? So we know, like, because of gravity, we know how to fly now. There are other principles involved in flight, but we couldn't have done flight until we knew about gravity. It's the underpinning truth. The truth is, you drop something, it falls down. Same's going to happen to an airplane until you've got all the other principles in place and you can make an airplane take off. When I pick up my water bottle, I know not to just let it go onto the floor. I know to put it down on the table because it's going to fall. So those are the things I need to do to operate because gravity is true. So, if I'd built a table that was sloping like that, then all my cups would slide off it and that wouldn't be very useful. So the fix for that would be to straighten up the table. The reason why it's happening is gravity. So I'm talking about the reason why it's happening, and this is quite cool because I've never quite said it like this. I'm talking about the reason why it's happening, like the reason why you're feeling the way you're feeling, why reality seems to be not the way you want it to be, why your thoughts are a bit rubbish sometimes and seem to hold you back. I'm talking about why that is the way it is. And by understanding it, you navigate it with more ease. So there's no tools, there's no techniques, there's nothing to do. It's the least time-consuming way to have a nicer experience of life. Because once you understand these principles, you begin to be able to navigate life with more ease because you just know how it works. And my experience of that, understanding that and getting better at understanding it and deepening my understanding with it, is that life, lots of things that used to feel hard don't feel hard. Lots of things that used to bother me don't bother me. Lots of things that I thought were wrong with me either I'm not bothered about them anymore, or they are, or they've disappeared completely. And Megan, absolutely it does. It totally applies to the neurodivergent experience. And that is because what I'm guiding us to do here is to change our relationship with our thoughts and feelings, not to change them. So, for example, I have no diagnoses of anything of any sort, but I would say I'm quite an easily distracted person. I can flit around, task flit, and my fiance, he's one as well. I notice it more in him than I do in me, because you do, don't you? So the reason I follow that urge to move around and to be distracted is because I believe the thinking that says that that's what I should do. For example, it doesn't really matter what the thinking tells you to do. It's your relationship with it. So it's a bit like if you, so we're all kind of listening to our thinking, aren't we? All the time. I didn't used to think it was thinking. I just thought it was the instruction manual for life. There's, like if you're making a cake, you've got to kind of follow the instructions, haven't you? Well, I thought the voice in my head was just the instructions. Do this, now do this, now do that. So I just did what it said all the time. It's very rarely that I just ignored it and went, oh, I'm not going to do that. That's not what I really want to do. I just followed it to the letter, pretty much. Now, all I'm pointing to here is to understand that thought is one of the elements that's creating your experience, but that you're not your psychology, so you're not your neurodivergence, you're not your diagnosis, you are something much more. This is why we're talking about revealing your potential this month, is that you are not your thoughts, you are not your psychology. And what you can begin to do is just have a different relationship to that. Once you see, oh yeah, thought creates my experience. When I focus on certain kinds of thinking, when I obey certain kinds of thinking, when I follow certain trains of thought, this is the feelings I get from that. As you start to realise that, you just start to dismiss those thoughts a little bit more. And the result of that is that they don't turn up as much. Oh, absolutely. Beautiful. What good spot there, Megan. Absolutely. Spot on. Yeah, beautiful books, both of them. I remember my fiance and I, we kind of came across this understanding. Well, I came across it and I went, you need to listen to this. It's amazing. And so he's learnt it too, and it's changed his life. And I had a pretty normal kind of upbringing, not pretty kind of critical 1970s and 80s parenting, but my fiance had a really awful, quite traumatic upbringing with 2 physically and emotionally abusive stepfathers, and he's just come out of that, so it's just gone. It's not impacting his life like it used to dramatically. We don't have to carry that stuff around with us. So we listened to the Surrender Experiment. I think we were on a holiday somewhere, and we were listening to it every time we got in the car. We were listening to it, and we really loved it. Probably could listen to that again, actually. I just love it. Made me smile, the whole story. How he's just suddenly there's a woman building a house on his land, and he's just letting it happen. It's so wonderful, and I'm finding myself more and more in that space, because actually underneath our thinking that says this has to be this way for us to be okay, that has to be that way, as soon as we start to let go of that, underneath that there is this freedom, there is the flow that we're supposed to be talking about today. There is creative potential, and all that really needs to happen is a change in relationship with our thinking. And that's just really funny, like how guided we are, because I had completely forgotten the title today. I'll be honest with you. I'm one of those beings. But look how we've ended up at accessing effortless flow and creative potential. Like we just ended up there because I've just followed the flow of what's come through me. And I feel really quite emotional about that, because I never used to live my life like that. Sorry, if you don't like crying, you're on the wrong session, because I can go at any minute, because I was such a control freak and I thought that's how I had to be for me to be okay. Yeah, if you don't like crying, you're on the wrong session. If you don't want to work with somebody, if you want to work with somebody who doesn't cry, don't work with me. Because that's it. That's me. I do cry. And just when I feel connected to something, really. I won't blow my nose in the microphone. You don't want to be hearing that. It's quite loud. But yeah, I mean, untethered soul, just that phrase itself, that's what we're doing here with revealing your potential, is we are... I don't know if I see your soul as being tethered, but more just covered up. And there's so much... I don't know why I'm so emotional today. Is there a full moon? We just had a full moon. It was last weekend, wasn't it? I remember. There's so much suffering. Thank you. The hearts are lovely. Bless you. There's so much suffering. And it doesn't need to be that way. It's suffering because of a misunderstanding. You know, the neurodivergent question is lovely, Megan, because there's so many labels. There's so much that we can hang our hat on in terms of our psychology. We can be anxious, we can be depressed, we can be neurodivergent, we can be all these things, but you are not any of those things. You are infinite. You are flow, you are creativity. That's your natural state. But for so many of us, our thinking has just got so much in the way. So much in the way. Yeah, me too, Megan. And that was me in a nutshell. Utter control freak. Total. I'd say I'm a recovering control freak. I think it's like, maybe it's like alcoholism, you always have to say. I don't believe that, by the way. Sorry, 12-step program, but you know, nobody is permanently anything. But I am a recovering control freak. I still have those. I like a bit of planning, but only like nice things. I don't do it in an anxiety kind of way anymore, like I used to. But I still like to plan things. We're going to watch the bed race in Knaresborough. If anybody's from Yorkshire, say hello, because on Saturday there's something called a bed race. So basically, for anybody who doesn't know and hasn't heard of this crazy thing, we have quite a lot of crazy things in the UK. I'm sure you do actually in North America too. But basically, they get like hospital-sized beds, you know, the old-fashioned ones with the big metal frame, and they dress them up like, you know, in a theme. There's usually a theme for the event. And there's usually 4 people, I think it's 4 people pushing the bed, and 1 person has to be on the bed. And it's bed on wheels, and they basically push the bed through this town called Knaresborough. It's quite a hilly town, and they have to take it across the river and all sorts of stuff. It's hysterical. Anyway, my fiance and I are gonna get a train to Knaresborough on Saturday and go watch the bed race. So, but I've planned that in because I've put it in the diary, and you know it's going to happen because I've put it in the diary. That's my level of planning now. More really. So I usually have a little list I follow. Don't always do everything on it, but I do the things that are for Insight Timer, and that's because I love it here, and I love the support in the comments, and you know it's just such a lovely connected space. I've really come away from quite a lot of social media now because I like to be on here. I think I might start playing on TikTok because I like video, and I think I've got some things to say that are helpful to people. And there's a lot of people on there looking for help with the issues that I help with, and they're looking a lot towards the tools and techniques and the CBT and all those kind of things. So and NLP, and trying to control it all. Like, it's not your job to control it all. The flow and the creativity don't come from you trying to control how you feel and what you think and how you behave. Flow doesn't come from there. There's so much pointing us to try and fix ourselves in the outside world, and none of it's out there. It's pointing everybody in the wrong direction. You are infinite. You are the universe. You are God. You are so much more than your thinking would allow you to see. And in the three principles, the three principles are thought, which I've talked a bit about today, consciousness, that which brings your experience to life. You know what it's like. You can have a really rubbishy thought, but if you kind of let it pass, you won't feel it. Whereas if you focus on it and you give it a lot of attention and you give it that kind of conscious awareness, but not in a, perhaps not in a healthy way, you then experience it, don't you? But really the peace I'm talking to here, the wisdom, the intuition, the infinite intelligence, all of that is who you really are. But those three things come together to create all your experience. And you'll hear me talk about the three principles, but often not I don't go, this is how the three principles work together to create your experience. Most of the time I'm just talking about one of them or another one. But when you know how your experience is being created, your experience just makes more sense. Thank you, Michelle. It isn't. We've made too many things our job. Controlling the outside world, controlling our inner world, trying to make our thoughts and feelings different, and it's creating so much suffering. People are not living anywhere near their potential because they're spending so much time if I just trying to fix themselves, and if I think about all the time I spent trying to fix myself, I could have got those jobs done that I thought I was procrastinating over in the 10 hours I was spending trying to make myself in the right state to do the jobs. It's ironic. So the three principles, Janet: thought, consciousness, and universal mind, universal intelligence. What people call that universe, God, energy of life, energy of nature. It's that aliveness that runs through everything. I will often call it intuition. I'll call it wisdom. I'll call it gut instinct. I'll call it peace, love, wisdom. It's all those things, innate well-being, you might call it. It's all that's underneath, really, that's hidden by our thinking. So have we got mostly newbies to the three principles here? I notice we've got quite a few more people who've come in to this session. So welcome. Let me know if you're new to me, new to my teachings. Janet's new. Hello, Janet, again. That's beautiful, Megan. I love that. In gut we trust. And you're new too. And thank you for joining in. You've been fab. So today we're looking at accessing effortless flow and creative potential. And tomorrow at 12:45 p.m, all the times are BST. So if you go on the app and you look at my profile, you'll see them in your own time zone. So you'll see when they are. So 12:45 BST tomorrow for the power of presence, revealing potential in the now. And I've got to schedule, I might do that this morning actually, I've got to schedule next week's. Look at my diary and see when I can do them. Hi Nikki, you're new and you've just joined, so welcome. There will be an opportunity to catch up on this. If you go to the link in my bio, there is a YouTube channel on there where I'm just popping these popping all these recordings afterwards. So, and there is also a track which I think has now been released that is called What Are the Three Principles and Why They're Helpful? So I'd hop over to that. And the other thing you can have a look at is my 2 courses. So I've got Calm, Balance and Clarity with Ease and Revealing Your Full Potential with the 3 Principles. So both of those courses are also on my profile, so I really recommend looking at those as well. So welcome, Nikki. Lovely to have you here. So Jane, bless you. And you know, how we see ourselves. Hi Joe, welcome. So Jane, so much love. Yeah, me too. And you're here. You're here, Jane. And I'm so glad you're new and you're here and you've found me. Because what I would say about the 3 principles is if you like listening to me, and I seem like a person you can listen to, and you don't mind the crying and the laughing and all the other stuff that comes with, and the distractions about bed races in Knaresborough at the weekend. Like, if you don't mind, if you like me and you want to connect with me and follow me, and if you really love it, you can make a donation too, because this is the fabulous thing about Insight Timer. If you can support me or Insight Timer here, that's lovely too. If you like me, then stay and follow me and listen to some of my other content. If it's resonating, Jane, then just follow that, from here. But if it's not me, then find out about the 3 principles. Find another teacher. Find somebody to learn this from, because it is the most life-changing thing I've ever experienced. And trust me, like many, many people, I have tried a lot of things to try and feel better. And this was the thing that's changed everything. Everything in my life has been changed because of this understanding, my inner experience of it all. Like the world out there, just after I came across the 3 principles, in January 2020, we all know what happened. The world went flipping crazy. It was weird, wasn't it? Everything was very strange. The world was strange. We all experienced quite strange things, being told to stay in our homes and kids not going to school and goodness knows what else. I was okay. Surprisingly, because I really couldn't control anything at that point, but I was so much at ease with it. And I know it was because of what I'd seen in that previous 3 months from January to March. So Jane, you've always felt different. Yeah. Oh, well, Jane, absolutely. Like, permission to do that. Not that you need my permission, but keep looking this direction and you will find that your wisdom will speak to you. And, oh, Jack, okay, Jack. I'm really sorry to hear that, Jack. Do you need to speak to somebody who's able to help you right now? Because obviously I'm on a live. I don't even know what part of the world you're in, Jack. Where are you, Jack, in the world? Let me know. I mean, what I would say to anybody who's feeling low right now, which it sounds like Jack is, I'm sending lots of love to you, Jack, is that it will pass. It will pass, and one day you'll look back and you'll think, wow, that was a tricky period, that was difficult, but I'm okay. It will pass. So your thoughts of hating your life and hating the world, they're just temporary. They're not who you are, and you're okay. But please, if you need support from someone who you need to, and you want to talk to someone, please do reach out to someone to talk to somebody. If you have We have the Samaritans in this country. I'm sure you've got something similar in the Netherlands where you can pick up the phone and talk to another human being. Because I can only do so much here. I hope that being in this space with me is helpful. I would encourage you to speak to someone. But if all you feel like doing today is listening, then please, go and listen to some more things like this. But know that it will pass. You will not always feel so sad. You will not always hate your life, and you will not always hate the world. It will pass. And that at the moment you're caught up in some really awful thinking that is not telling you the truth. And everybody here needs to know this. If the thinking's making you feel bad, it's the thinking that's bad, not the thing you're thinking about. It's a lie. Lies feel terrible. Do you know when you're a kid and you tell a lie? Because we've all done it, haven't we? Anybody else? Put your hand up and admit it. We've all told a lie, haven't we? But doesn't that feel awful in your body? Even when you were a kid, it feels, thank you, Megan. Thank you. That's so helpful. So Jack, I hope you've seen that. There is a number you can call. There is somebody you can reach out to. Please do talk to someone. Thank you, Jane. That's beautiful. That's so supportive. You've got a lot of love around you here, Jack. A lot of beautiful people who are supporting you. But that thing, like I was saying, you tell a lie and it feels awful, doesn't it? Like as a kid, you can feel, am I going to get away with this? There's a lot of thinking about it. It feels terrible. Well, your body's still doing that. Like if you are upset, if you are having really dark thoughts, if it feels like the world is terrible, then that I guarantee that's the sadness, Jack. The awful feeling you have in your body right now, the awful feeling any of us have in our bodies right now, when we are actually caught up in really horrible thinking, our bodies are just telling us the truth. They're letting us know that we've got awful thinking, lying thinking that is temporary and will pass, but right at this moment can look so real. And it hurts. And it looks like there'll be thoughts that tell us a way to solve that. And they can be all sorts of things. So, for me, for a long time, if I felt low, it looked to me like eating chocolate could make it better. It looked to me like trying to control the outside world. It looked to me like if the world out there changes, I can feel better. That it's a horrible world. There's people who are not nice and I don't like what they're doing or whatever. Or, as well, thinking that me, changing me was going to make it better. But those thoughts felt terrible. They really did, and they exhausted me. And they didn't do right by my body. And that's because they were rubbish thoughts. So I hope, Jack, that you're feeling the love in the room right now from everyone who's here. Because I'm feeling it. I'm feeling that you are deeply loved and cared about by other humans in this room. So please do reach out and speak to somebody. It looks like Megan's providing the number there, 113 to call. Thank you, Megan. That's really helpful. So, have we talked enough about the actual subjects today? I feel like probably not, but we've gone all over the place. So, I think I think it's really simple is this idea of accessing effortless flow and creative potential. What I'm pointing to is that you are flow and creative potential. You are effortless flow and creative potential. often you won't feel that way. But as you start to relate differently to your thinking, and you realise that your feelings are just an indication of your thinking, like I'm saying to all of you, thought is represented in our bodies as feelings. It's the two sides of the same energetic coin. They're two parts of the same energy. We spend too much time in that. And all I'm pointing to is to become aware of that's what's going on. That's what's going on. We're all caught up in our thinking. We're all in that repetitive. Have you noticed? Perhaps this is a lovely place to bring some awareness if you want to be more in flow and more in a creative space, is to just bring some awareness to what your mind does when it's upset. Like everybody, what does your mind do when it's upset? I think my mind still avoids things. Might call that procrastination. I think my mind looks towards other people needing to be different for me to be okay. That's what my mind does when it's upset. I think I shout, or I don't shout, but I talk a lot when I'm upset. It's one of the things I do. Like, we've all got little habits, maybe big habits. Or in the past, when I was upset, I would try and control things. People, circumstances, people and circumstances. I try and control myself, how I was feeling. That's all about control. Yeah, that's lovely, Jane. And I think in nature generally, we feel good because there's something about us remembering that that's who we really are, that we are connected, that we are, not that we're just connected, that we are nature, that we are that essence of life flowing. I feel it just walking in nature, Jane. Just this morning, my fiance and I have been for a little walk through the woods. Just a 3-miler. And I've come back to my desk. Well, I just got straight out of bed, put some clothes on and just went for a walk and then got a shower afterwards. And felt, just it's so green out there. It's just beautiful. And I've been, I listened to a podcast the other day where they were talking about trees and how trees communicate with each other, like not just between the same species, but so if they realise that a tree is missing nutrition, they'll somehow get a message from that tree, and then they will push nutrition to that tree. And there's also another thing where if there's a beetle attack or an insect attack on a tree, the tree will release messenger chemicals to let the other trees know to prepare. The beetles are coming, you need to know, so the other trees can prepare their chemical thing against the beetles, their protective whatever it is they put out, and pass the message on. And I think that's our natural inclination as human beings. Oh, that's lovely, Jane. Do a recording to listen to when we awake to remind us to live this day in flow. Oh, can I ever? Oh, yes, I can. I'm going to write that down, Jane, because if I don't write things down, I'm sure you know how it is. It's gone, and I'd have to come back and find it on the recording. Awakening, like a meditation. Yes. To remind Pose to live day. Yes, I love that idea, Jane. Thank you so much. This is what I love. I love to get ideas from you. That's why the next month's content is going to be on productivity and procrastination stuff, because that's been mentioned quite a lot. But yes, Jane, I would love to do that so that we can, wake up and I just think we do forget. And I think that's all this conversation is. It's a reminder, hey, don't forget that you are infinite. Just like we just do need reminding, don't we, that we're not our thinking, we're not our psychology, we're not all the noise in our head, we're not our icky feelings. None of that is who we really are. We are flow and creative potential. Oh, Jane, I'm so glad you found me too. And I'm glad you're all putting up with the crying. So I'm going to just tell you, it's nearly time to, I try to do about an hour. So it says live now. Yeah, that's that one. We're doing that one now, aren't we? So tomorrow at 12:45 p.m, bit of a lunchtime, the power of presence, revealing potential in the now. So I hope to see some of you there. Definitely, Nikki, that's so good. If that's what I've done today is get you, Nikki, to look up the 3 principles, that's brilliant. So happy about that. All my content is pointing in this direction. So please do listen. And as I say, I've got these 2 courses, Revealing Your Full Potential with 3 Principles and Calm, Balance and Clarity with Ease. It's 50 years this year since the 3 Principles was uncovered, and it is the UK conference. Next Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, it is the UK conference, which is all online, so it doesn't really matter. It's running more on a US time. Recommend to start with Calm, Balance and Clarity with Ease, Nikki, I think first. That gives a bit more of a background. I probably am going to do a bit more of a kind of grounding in the 3 Principles course actually as well at some point. I've got so many ideas. I mean, that's the thing with the head being more empty of thinking these days, is that the ideas, sometimes there's too many ideas. I have to kind of, just put those on a bit of paper for now. But I love that idea for that meditation, Jane, absolutely. Great idea. So do look up the 3 Principles. As I say, the UK conference is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So if you wanted to kind of immerse yourself in it for a couple of days, I will be doing some hosting there on Zoom, and it'll be the conference is running more on a kind of American, North American time scale, because a lot of the speakers are in the US, so it's starting lunchtime-ish and going through till the evening on all 3 days. So I will be there soaking up the teachings and enjoying that for a few days. So I will try and squeeze in a live, maybe just sharing what I've seen from the conference. That would be cool, wouldn't it? I could go to a conference session and come straight into a live on Insight Timer and just share what I've heard. I had a massive insight last year, on the 3 Principles conference, where somebody said something about monitoring, judging and controlling. No, monitoring, judging and supervising. And I realised that's what I did. That's why I burnt out. That's what I was still doing a bit, and I had a bit of an insight around it, and then I had a cry, a massive cry, actually. Not like me. So thank you so much. What a lovely session this has been. If you found this helpful and you are able to make a donation, then I'd be so grateful, of course. I would love to see some of you hopping over to my profile and following me, connecting with me, checking out the link in my bio. There's loads more stuff that you can have a look at on there. And one day I hope to have a proper conversation with some people who I've come across today on here. I felt a lovely vibe today. It's been really nice. Thank you so much. So lots of love. Hopefully some of you can be here because you're awake at 12:45 tomorrow for the power of presence revealing potential in the now. Being in the present moment is the best, isn't it? So we'll be talking about that tomorrow. Do try out my courses if you've not come across those before. And yeah, lots of love to Jack. I hope you're still listening, Jack. But please don't be alone today. And if all you can do today is listen to somebody talking and pointing you towards your innate well-being, then please do listen to my stuff, but please pick up the phone too. So just a reminder that there's been a lot of love in the room for you today, Jack. So sending lots of love. Take care, everyone. I really hope to see you all again. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Take care. Lots of love.